All right, guys. So CNN Plus has officially went down in flames as they are shutting down their woke streaming service starring Brian Stelter, Jamel Hill, and Chris Wallace. Now, before I get into this, I want to say this. First and foremost, I am not taking a victory lap. I am not really even celebrating because when people lose their jobs, in my opinion, that's a bad thing. Because there are a lot of people that are working at CNN Plus. I'm talking about the lower level employees that were a part of this little startup venture that CNN thought was a good idea for whatever reason. That probably thought that, hey, you know what? This is going to be my opportunity to grow. I'm going to grow with this new streaming platform that CNN has started. And, you know, hey, it's a job, right? It's a job. It's a way to feed your family. And again, when those employees who probably may get laid off, maybe they get shifted around to some other segment of the company or whatever, when they lose their jobs, it's a bad thing. Okay, so I feel bad for them. I really do. Who I don't feel bad for is the Jamel Hills and the Chris Wallaces of the world. Okay, who in Chris Wallace's case, he left a lucrative, cushy job at Fox News to join CNN Plus because allegedly he's ethical, right? He's an ethical journalist, and I wonder how all that ethics is working out for him right now, considering how he may or may not be jobless. Okay, so with that being said, this is a get woke, go broke moment, and we've had a lot of those moments, right, recently, as some of the wokest companies out there, Disney, Netflix, the Black News Channel, etc., they've struggled or either shut down completely. In the case of the Black News Channel, they shut down completely. In the case of Netflix and Disney, Netflix is losing a massive number of subscribers. Their stock is tanking. Disney Plus is losing subscribers. Their stock is tanking. All this woke programming turns out was not a good idea. Okay, but with that being said, again, I'm not even trying to make this an I told you so type of thing because it was so obvious that this was going to happen, right? I can't even really brag about saying that this was never going to work because, again, anybody with two eyes and just basic logic can see that this was not gonna work. Who in their right minds was gonna pay any amount of money to watch Brian Seltzer, Jamel Hill, and Chris Wallace? I don't think anybody was gonna do that. You can't even get people to watch him for free. So why in the world would people pay to watch him? And for whatever reason, the executives in that room at CNN thought that this was a good idea. They thought this was a good idea. Again, it just goes to show you guys that just because you have an Ivy League degree, right, doesn't necessarily mean that you're a smart person or that you have very good business savvy, okay? So before we get into this, I just want to let you guys know that if you like my channel, you want to support my channel, and you don't want my channel to end up like CNN Plus, you can support it using the links in the description below. You support the Patreon, you support the PayPal, you support the merch. There are multiple ways to support the channel if you would like to do so. So, Brian Stelter, who routinely breaks the bad news at CNN, okay, that seems to be the most of what he's been doing lately here, broke this. And he says, quote, CNN Plus, the streaming service that was hyped as one of the most significant developments in the history of CNN, will shut down on April 30th, just 1 month after it launched. Here's our initial story, more to come. So, this is Lil Brian. Again, once again, reporting on some negative news out of CNN, okay? So let's go ahead and read a little bit more about this. CNN Plus, the news network's dedicated streaming service, is shutting down before even turning a month old. Chris Licht, the CEO of CNN, delivered the news to his new team at an all-hands meeting on Thursday, and the service will shut down entirely on April 30th. Licht congratulated the CNN Plus team in a memo to staff announcing the shutdown and said that the decision is not a reflection of the quality of the talent and content at CNN Plus, some of which will migrate to CNN's programming or some of the company's other networks. The decision, he said, was about broader strategy. In a complex streaming market, consumers want simplicity and an all-in service, which provides a better experience and more value than standalone offerings. Employees will be paid and receive benefits for the next 90 days, he said, and those who don't end up in other roles at the company will get at least 6 months severance. Andrew Morse, the head of CNN Plus, is leaving the company. Okay, so basically what this guy's saying is that nobody wanted to watch our service, right? Because nobody's going to pay money to watch CNN. And what they're going to do is that they're going to incorporate some type of streaming service into a broader strategy when it comes to their merger with Discovery. Okay, I think Discovery might have bought CNN or something like that. And they're going to have some type of streaming package with that, okay? That's going to be an all-encompassing thing. It's not just going to be a standalone service where it's just news and nothing else. Which, again, I don't understand why these streaming services keep thinking that they could, market standalone packages that people are going to pay for when so many other companies are doing this, right? Again, I don't see the point of getting a streaming service at this point versus just getting cable, to be quite honest with you, because it's more expensive to get all the things that you want than just getting cable. The network seemed to be doomed from the very beginning. CNN imagined the service as a new way of thinking about news coverage with new personality-driven shows and access to some of CNN's best original series. It had a somewhat confusing relationship with the parent network. CNN Plus didn't offer a streaming version of the linear channel and instead tried to build a different, more personalized version of the news report. The company was also attempting to figure out how to bring news content to a more on-demand audience and make the news a more interactive process. How about just reporting the news, right? How about less opinions, more facts, okay? Less woke, okay? More neutrality, okay? Less bias. Maybe that's what they should have went for. Maybe that would have helped them out. I don't think anybody wants a more personalized version of Brian Stelter and Jamel Hill. I don't think that's what people want. It has been widely reported that CNN planned to spend about $1 billion on CNN Plus over a few years and had already poured at least $100 million and as much as $300 million into the service. Given the size of the investment, the early subscriber numbers were pretty bleak. Access reported that about 150,000 people had signed up for the $5.99 a month service as of a week, while CNBC reported that fewer than 10,000 people were using it on a daily basis. Okay, so again, imagine being backed by hundreds of millions of dollars and losing to YouTube channels, right? Just for context. For context here, there were fewer than 10,000 people watching CNN Plus on a daily basis. I get 10,000 views in an hour, okay? That is how bad CNN is doing. Again, I'm not trying to brag or anything like that. That's just how bad they're doing, okay? I'm some random dude on the internet. I don't have millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars of marketing behind me, okay? So again, 150,000 people to pay $5.99 a month is pretty bad. Okay, 10,000 viewers a day is pretty bad. It's very bad. It's hard to say whether CNN Plus could have worked over time because it was shut down, at least in part because it violated a broader corporate strategy. The service launched in the middle of a huge turnover at the company, both with Licht's appointment and with the newly combined Warner Bros. Discovery corporate structure being finalized. Executives were reportedly frustrated that CNN Plus launched at all, especially as Warner Bros. Discovery shifts its strategy towards building one massive combined streaming service that includes both HBO Max and Discovery Plus. In that world, CNN Plus likely makes more sense as a feature than a standalone service. Yeah, so to me, it sounds like these Discovery executives are a lot smarter than the executives at CNN. A lot of streaming services have come and gone quickly in recent years, but you'd be hard-pressed to find one with a shorter shelf life than CNN Plus. Verizon's Go 90 lasted a comparatively impressive 3 years, and even Quibi lasted a bit more than 6 months. Yeah, again, it just shows you how little demand there was for a personalized version of Brian Stelter, okay? And speaking of little Brian Stelter, we have some news about him, as there's been some speculation that this guy may actually be out the door, okay? He might be out of the door. And, personally, I can't wait, because I think it will happen, until Brian Stelter is breaking the news that he's been fired from CNN. But according to John Nicosia, who's supposed to, be an insider, have some inside information on this stuff, he says, source, at a recent informal Discovery Board meeting, largest shareholder John Malone referred to CNN's Brian Stelter as a cancer and a Zucker henchman that has a failing show. Yeah, that's definitely true, right? He is a Zucker henchman. He definitely has a failing show. He's the water boy at CNN, okay? He's the guy that knows everything, and he's kissing the most butt, right? But he's not very talented. But because he can kiss butt so well and he knows everything, that's the only reason he has a job, okay? It is very obvious what Brian Stelter's role is at CNN. He also went on to say, 10 days later, after tweeting this, that sources, Brian Stelter's days are numbered with the network. Discovery Management very much considers him a Zucker henchman and an embarrassment. And he believes he is a negative partisan lightning rod and distraction going forward. More to come. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't see why this is not believable as well, considering how this guy's whole show is about bashing Fox News, okay, pretending that everything that's not pro-Democrat is just some right-wing talking point, okay? Anything that they don't agree with is labeled as a right-wing talking point. And I'm pretty sure at some point, he labeled the idea that CNN Plus would fail as a right-wing talking point. So there's speculation that Brian Stelter can be out the door. Now, the question of whether this guy actually knows, I'm not sure, because this is the same guy that said that Joy Reid will be out of MSNBC by mid-spring. It is April, right? I guess technically it's approaching mid-spring, and Joy Reid is still on, right? So I don't really know if I necessarily trust this guy all this much, but with his show failing and CNN allegedly trying to shift their strategy to become a little bit more neutral, and Brian Stelter being one of the worst journalists that they have in terms of viewership, in terms of just everything, talent, I don't see why they don't get rid of the guy. The guy should have been fired a long time ago. But so, yeah, with that being said, I wouldn't be surprised if he's on the chopping block, just like CNN Plus. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.